Join us for a review of the new Toyota Yaris. Let's go! The most remarkable thing about the Toyota Yaris is it's a car for everyone, not just for an exclusive target group, yet it is screaming out in the design, so a very unique design definitely. Look at these very strong accentuations here in the hood, then wide opening here for the front grille, so even stronger in this generation. Also dimension-wise, 4 centimeters flatter, 5 centimeters wider, so about 2 inches each. So a stronger stance on the road and definitely a very unique design. 3 meters 94, 12 foot 9 or 155 inches is the length of this new Toyota Yaris. So the length is more or less the same, whereas the wheelbase has been increased. Supposed to have an effect on the rear seating there. We'll soon find out more about that. Also, we will check on while driving how they changed the suspension setting, because they told us that they made the suspension more comfortable, yet at the same time the car is supposed to be a little bit sportier because it is 37% stiffer from the chassis, and we'll see in the driving part how that plays an effect. Then wheels start with 15-inch steel, then 16-inch aluminum, and these are the optional 17-inch aluminum wheels, which have the the biggest and most massive or sportiest style. This is also the hybrid. Soon more about the engines, and there we are. And indeed, this is like a middle spoiler, so to speak. You can really serve food here, and I would be okay with that. There's a rule with me in my cars or in my test vehicles: no food on the inside, but on the exterior, yeah, why not? You can wash it off. But really dramatic spoiler right here, then the tail lamp signature here. So this is a very, very joyful design. Once again, the only thing they did not do, no fake exhaust tips, so there's no job for the Autogefühl fake exhaust police today. I think that's also a good decision. The crucial engine for this car will be this one, the inbuilt hybrid 1.5 liter naturally aspirated engine, made it to an electric motor, 116 horsepower, 9.7 seconds is the acceleration figure. Now featuring a lithium-ion battery instead of the older one, lighter, more performance. Let's see about that. And also all new seats. They paid more attention to ergonomics. They look quite sporty actually, and then either they are available in all fabric or like this in the mix inside fabric. And then outside they actually told me, specifically asked for that they use some animal material, like here for example, and then the other, for example, like here, this is then leatherette, and when you feel it, it's soft. But here it feels the very same as in the top part, so I don't see any difference. I can't feel any difference. That proves again the point. It's not really necessary. Not sure why they picked a mix here, but it looks quite nice also here with the red contour stitches. And let's see if it's really more comfortable than before. And for me, 1 meter 86 or 6'1", the small car segment is not ideal, usually. And then still some headroom left. It's actually no problem. So even for tall people it works. And I have to say the seat form is surprisingly good. Soon, of course, driving the car and see more about that. Interior overview, soft touch here. Hardback in the lower part, but it's also supposed to be a budget vehicle. Then the new 8-inch screen. It starts just with a plain radio, by the way, in the lowest trim. Beginning mid-trim, you get then the 8-inch screen. And then also with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto integration, and also with the GPS. Soon more details to the screen right here. Left side then with a small TFT in the inside, either analog or also the digital ones on the outside. Soon also more details to that. You've seen the steering wheel, that looks actually quite fancy. So the cockpit layout is again a little bit joyful here, also with some more cupboard holes that are open. So finally, also in Europe, the Toyotas get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and the sound system here, optional JBL sound system with a really decent sound for such a small vehicle. You can also see the additional speakers here left and right in the front cockpit, so this is actually quite decent. The integration is also well done, and when you go back to the Toyota menu, yeah, you probably don't want to do that. Yeah, I mean, there's like a day mode and day mode and night mode, so both are actually available. You can also adjust the contrast or the brightness. Here, for example, when we would put it a little bit brighter here, then there's also changes here for the camera possible. I can also show that to you. Yeah, let me first put on the car for real, then there's also no beeping sound anymore. This is the rear view camera. Does not have adjusting helping lines, but the resolution is not the best, but still quite okay. Other than that, this system here, when you look at the map, this is still, somewhat basic. So probably I would end up using the integrated CarPlay or Android maps. I think the outside gauges look quite fancy in this digital version here. Speed, and then left side for the EV system and for the gear you have selected. And on the inside then, this looks then a little bit outdated. For example, you can have the consumption figures in there, but also, for example, assistance systems information. Wait for what? I don't know. Here, for example, what music you're playing. But again, this looks quite outdated for a new car, but basically it does the job. So yeah, I would rather just use the left and the right gauge, and that's it. Time code markings, Thomas in the rear seat incoming. Here instead of the door. Very slim fabric insert once again. And you see the door doesn't open too wide, and it's a short vehicle. Therefore, when you look on the inside, you have the same sporty design here seating wise in the rear, but you already see that although the wheelbase has been increased and you have a little bit more legroom than before, is it really sufficient for me? I guess not. I mean, the seat is soft on the back part, so I do fit in here, but barely. But again, it's a very short vehicle. Headroom wise, exactly fit. Just when I put my spine up, then I do hit the ceiling with my head. But I mean, you have to have a compromise at some point, for a short vehicle. Let's check out the trunk area. And you can see this design on the exterior, of course, makes you lose the trunk height here a little. But still, I think it's quite okay. You can see the area here. Below this, you still have some more space left because they want to have a rather even loading still. I think it's a good decision because it's easier to load things in and out. And then if you like, you can also, take it all out. This is possible, or just fold it up to store something underneath. I think a good solution right here. So if we put sample luggage in, you can see this way it does fit. What about the vertical way? This is more critical. Yeah, this can be a problem indeed. So with the rolls there, with the wheels, this is indeed a problem. So this will not really fit. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the new Toyota Yaris, and we start here in this parking lot, and we picked that on, on detention hour, of course, because it's so super hot outside and the light is so bright you couldn't see the car, but in the shadow it's not that hot, and also you can see the lines of the car even better. And also this fits to this, you know, to the vehicle, this urban surrounding. And also here I want to start off here with some narrow driving, because this also shows you the capability of the vehicle. And yeah, we don't need the GPS here, stop guidance, don't need it right here. So, and I also want to show you this system here, you know, that you can see what is being done by the vehicle. So here at the moment in the EV mode, when we're going downhill here, we also can use some recuperation. Either that is done by using the brakes, then you can see also the left charging gauge, but I could also put it in the B mode, then automatically more, that's German, more recuperation is being done. Yeah, mehr is more in German. So sometimes I tend to talk German, just a little bit. But sometimes also, you know, when talking to my family or something, I tend to talk English because I'm talking English in business context all the time. So yeah, that's what's happening. So you feel really at ease with this vehicle here. I'll just use the force, then everything opens. That's, you know. Sorry, sometimes the force is delayed. So once again, this is one of the things here when using a smaller vehicle, you're so relaxed in these narrow situations. I think that's really, you know, something that's definitely relieving. Usually I leave it in the D mode. The B, the recuperation mode, is not too harsh, so it has never like a one pedal feeling like with the plug-in hybrid or with the all-electric vehicle or so. This is more about the mix. It's not about the electric driving only situations, also not about an electric range. This is really then more about, you know, how can you just optimize the fuel economy from here and there. This new feeling here in the new generation is definitely more grown up, so the car doesn't feel as tiny as it looks like. So this seating position here, which is more suitable to taller drivers, which is more comfortable. Then again, you need to sit a little bit more back in the vehicle. Then I really like new damper settings. So indeed, it's not too stiff. Yet again, it's also not super wobbly or so. So I think they found a good setup. This was a lane departure warning. Then there's a blind spot monitor right here. When I turn the turning indicators, it's also flashing. This is an option, the blind spot monitor. However, most of the other assistance systems, like the adaptive cruise control, here, you can see it here with the right thumb on the steering wheel, adaptive cruise control, autonomous emergency brake, this is all standard with this vehicle, and that's of course really, really good. Here at about 100 kilometers an hour or 60 miles an hour, also decent as for the noise insulation. The tarmac here is quite rough, still we are not hearing too much. Here then, you know, in this situation you feel that the suspension is shaking up a little bit because it's not set on the stiffest tone. I think it's definitely the right decision. However, you have a natural steering input here, and then when you're going some slalom at higher speeds, then you feel it. This is not meant to be a sporty vehicle, but that's actually totally fine. Yet it still gives you a more natural feeling, I would say. So definitely if you compare to the previous generation, this feels more comfortable, sportier, and also more natural from the input here. We have different driving modes as well, like a power driving mode for acceleration. Let's go. Plop. That was like 35 kilometers an hour to 90 kilometers an hour. Still quite decent, and it also didn't feel too weird as for the automatic gearbox, so that was rather a very smooth process. And you also heard that the engine didn't scream up too much. So there were earlier hybrid models, and also their normal naturally aspirated engine, which felt kind of awkward when accelerating, and here I think they found a more suitable solution for that. And once again, this was this power mode that gives me a little bit more boost. You can also pick the eco driving mode that is reducing the throttle input, so exactly doing the opposite thing of the power mode. And most of the time I think it doesn't make too much difference, so you would just keep it in the normal driving mode and you're just fine, because the car is also automatically working that out for you. And now to our conclusion for today with the all-new Toyota Yaris. Although it hasn't changed in the size that much, we can really say, on a metaphorical level, the Yaris has grown up. Because, well, on the exterior it looks a little bit sportier than before, but definitely still a very unique styling that will split in love or hate. What's your take on that? Then on the interior you have a little bit more space than before, and you sit even better, especially in the front seat here, even for tall people. So, considering this is a very tiny vehicle, I think I had some decent comfort, so they really worked on the ergonomics. That's, I think, one of the most crucial things. Then finally, also for the European vehicles, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto integration for the Toyotas. The Yaris has introduced that and will also be rolled out to the other new models and also to existing ones when they're being updated. Then the whole cockpit looks a little bit more modern than before. Yeah, the software of the infotainment system, besides the smartphone integration, can't really use that much of it. That's definitely not a strength of the vehicle. Driving-wise, once again interesting with the hybrid technology, where you can score some decent fuel economy. And also, this car definitely drives, indeed, more comfortable and sportier both than before, if you compare it to the previous generation. That's, I think, really cool. So the stiffening of the chassis, that you sit more towards the center of the vehicle, the center of gravity is lower, they worked on the dampening and so on. So I think this car really, especially gained in the driving feeling, which feels a little bit more natural than before, and as I said, more comfortable and sportier than before. So overall, I think in all respects, really a good step forward here for this new generation of the Yaris. Depending on the price, of course, depends on the trim level here as it is now with the hybrid, and also with a rather higher trim. Of course, it won't be that cheap, but you can also get some entry-level models which then, really come close to like 15,000 euros or something. And I think that's, of course, a very decent offer. So, thank you so much for tuning in today. What do you think about the new Yaris? Leave your comments about this vehicle and also tune in to our very next review. Thank you so much for tuning in.